EMEET slid into our DMs and asked if we'd be up for checking out their latest webcam, and of course, we said yes. This is the EMEET PIXY, a feature-packed dual 4K webcam that steps things up from the already adorable EMEET Pico and Pico Plus. Let's crack this thing open and see what it's made of. Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com, and even though EMEET sponsored this video, all our takes are 100% raw and honest, whether they like it or not. Cracking open the box, you're immediately greeted by this little cutie right here. Inside, you'll find another box holding a USB-C to USB-C cable and a handy USB-C to USB-A adapter. There's also this paperwork you're totally gonna toss aside, but probably should give a quick read. Then we've got the camera itself, which looks very kawaii and a solid metal base. The camera is pretty compact and the build quality feels super premium. Down at the bottom, you'll spot a tripod socket, perfect for that equally sturdy base. And for all your privacy needs, you can just swivel this little fella's head down or click on privacy mode in the EMEET Studio desktop app. That way, it won't catch everything you're up to in front of your computer, and I mean everything. But let's talk about what truly matters with a webcam, and that's video quality. We're gonna dive into some footage captured in a well-lit space, then we'll check out its performance in backlit environments, and finally, see how it handles those low-light situations. As mentioned in the intro, the PIXY comes with two cameras, a main 4K camera and an AI-assisted cam. The main cam features a 1/2.55-inch Sony sensor. EMEET hypes up its blazing fast autofocus, claiming a reaction time of just 0.2 seconds, and you know we're putting that to the test. First off, in a naturally lit room, the PIXY is able to capture a ton of detail. However, the white balance leans a little too cool, which makes my skin look a bit on the pale side. On top of it, you can definitely spot some noise in the darker areas, which feels a little high for a typical indoor scene like this one. That said, the autofocus, it's blazing fast. EMEET was not kidding with that 0.2 second response time, so if you're planning on showing off products up close to the camera, the PIXY is gonna have your back. Now, in the same room with bright artificial illumination, you can see that the cool white balance is still present, but the noise is pretty much gone. For these kinds of scenarios though, we would definitely recommend lowering the exposure manually in the official software since the image is too overexposed. When we were in the process of making this video, we actually reached out to EMEET directly about the exposure and the noise levels we were seeing, and they told us that they were actively working on a software update to address those very points. So by the time that you're watching this, that update should be out there and the video performance should have seen some significant improvements. Alright, now let's literally spin our desk 180 degrees and see how it handles setups with really harsh backlight. Instead of relying on HDR, as mentioned before, the PIXY uses a dual camera system, where the main camera captures ultra high definition video and the AI-powered camera detects faces and adjusts exposure accordingly. But again, let's check how it actually works in practice. Okay, so while the whole scene might look a little dark, that bright building outside the window is perfectly clear, and we can still make out most of our living room indoors. And while we gotta admit the saturation is a tad high, this little boy seriously captures a lot, even in these tough lighting situations. And now, let's kill the lights. Interestingly enough, in low light, the white balance actually looks pretty much on point, and Mr. PIXY is impressively able to grab a lot of detail on me and on the dark background behind me. Yeah, the image noise is back, and that's pretty much expected when it's this dark. So for video quality overall, we gotta say that even though it's not absolutely perfect, the PIXY does a really solid job. But video quality is just one side of the coin, so let's hit those mics with different ambient noise levels and see just how good they really are. So let's test out the audio on the webcam, and we're gonna start off with the original sound mode, which is basically the default that you'll get once you start up the software. What do you think? How am I sounding over here? But now let's go on to live mode. Live mode is supposed to suppress noise even more, making my voice clearer. But what does it sound like when you actually have some background noise? Let's test that out. So I'm now playing some cafe ambient sounds in the background on my TV over here. how do I sound with live mode on? Is it doing a good job suppressing the sound? We're gonna go onto the noise cancelling mode right now. And is it any better than live mode? It's supposed to be the strongest one and it's supposed to cancel out the most noise. But is it able to do that? So as you just heard, the sound coming straight from the camera in normal mode might be a tad on the quiet side. But honestly, if your room's pretty quiet, you should be totally fine. Live mode, on the other hand, cranks up the volume, making my voice come through much clearer. When tested with loud background noise, live mode did a solid job of cutting out most of the background chatter. Noise cancellation mode was indeed a bit better, but the difference wasn't really huge. However, we did run into one little hiccup. The audio in videos recorded directly through the EMEET software was totally out of sync. We had to go in and actually manually fix that, which of course is not ideal. When we tested it with OBS, which is an open source computer software for webcams, we actually didn't have that problem, so there's that. Anyway, we hope a future update fixes that bug for good. Alright, now that we've got the video and audio covered, let's see what else this cute little guy can do. First off, the Pixy's unique design isn't just for show. Thanks to its 2-axis, it can automatically track you using its AI algorithms. All you gotta do is just show the palm of your hand. We have to say tracking works seriously well, and it's actually super fast, following me without missing a beat, which can come in handy in presentations, for example. And speaking of presentations, the Pixy also rocks a whiteboard mode, which you can activate right in the EMEET Studio software. With this mode, the Pixy will detect a whiteboard and keep it perfectly framed. Finally, inside the EMEET Studio, you'll also get access to a bunch of AI models to give you a helping hand with creating scripts. We're talking about everything from scene descriptions and dialogue to even lighting suggestions based on your prompt. While that could be handy for some, we personally don't quite see the relevance of this feature in a webcam software, since the answers it spits out don't even seem to consider that you're probably only using a webcam to film and nothing else. But yeah, that's just our opinion. Also, the UI needs some polishing because some of the text gets cut off and you can't expand it to read the whole thing. Alright, so now let's check out what's probably the most important part for a lot of you, the price tag. The EMEET Pixy retails for $159, which, being completely honest, is actually a fair price, especially considering similar cams with 2-axis tracking that we have tested before come with a heftier price, making the EMEET Pixy a good option. So when we put all the pieces together, the EMEET Pixy is a seriously nice webcam. It offers good video quality and comes with features you will actually use. However, not everything is perfect, and we did tell you that we were going to give you our honest opinion regardless of this video being sponsored. So there are unfortunately a few quirks that EMEET really needs to address to truly compete with other cams. That involves overexposure in some scenarios, high noise levels, over-boosted saturation on backlit scenes, and most importantly, out-of-sync audio. To be honest, they don't look that bright anymore. I think it got a little not so bright outside, but that's alright. As mentioned, we did hear from EMEET that they are working on improving both the video and audio quality, but as they say, seeing is believing, so we'll definitely be looking forward to those updates. So what do you think? Is the Pixy good enough to snag a spot on top of your computer? We really want to read your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, you can find a link to get this webcam in the description below. Before you go, find our princess in another castle, make sure to leave a big thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe as we're always testing new devices to help you make the best choice. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.